Etymology and historical origin of the baby name Geraldine. Geraldine is the female form of Gerald. Gerald is an Old Frankish personal name rooted in the Germanic elements, ger meaning spear and wald meaning rule by the spear. The Norman French introduced the name to England in the Middle Ages after the Norman invasion of 1066. The Irish especially found a liking to the name, which is from where the Norman Irish surname Fitzgerald developed. There were various medieval saints who bore the name Gerald, including the 9th century Gerald of Aurillac, a French nobleman who gave up his possessions in order to live his life in the name of Christ. Due to his childhood illnesses, his adult blindness and his apparent disfigurement from acne, St. Gerald of Aurillac became a patron saint to the disabled and handicapped. The French especially had a knack for naming their babies after notable saints in the Middle Ages and then popularizing these names in England after the Norman conquest. Gerald was another one of these French names which gained circulation in England before falling from fashion in the later Middle Ages. The name saw a revival in the 19th century, thanks, in part, to the influence of the Irish who never lost interest in this name, and Geraldine came into use about the same time. The French Geraldine is pronounced Geraldine. Jerry and Jerry are both considered gender-neutral pet forms of Gerald and Geraldine. Personality of the girl named Geraldine. The 3 energy is powerful and enthusiastic. These personalities are cheerful, full of self-expression, and often quite emotional. They have an artistic flair and gift of gab that makes them natural entertainers. Their joyfulness bubbles over, and their infectious exuberance draws a crowd. The 3 personality is like a child, forever young and full of delight. They are charming, witty, and generally happy people. The 3 personality lives in the now and has a spontaneous nature. 3 seem to live with a bright and seemingly unbreakable aura that attracts others to them. In turn, they are deeply loyal and loving to their friends and family. Luck also has a tendency to favor number 3s. Popularity of the girl named Geraldine. Geraldine is a name with an interesting history of usage in the United States. It dates back to the late 19th century, which is as far back as we have available data. Geraldine entered the 20th century with moderate usage but was already showing signs of promise. The name would gain ground throughout the early 1900s, before achieving a coveted spot on the top 100 list in 1916. Geraldine would hold a place on the top 100 for 34 consecutive years and reach her peak success at position number 38 in 1931. The name dropped off the top 100 list in 1950 and spent the following years dropping like a rock and then disappeared from the top 1,000 list completely in 1977. Geraldine's cobwebs were brushed off briefly from 1988 to 1990, most likely influenced by feminist favorite Geraldine Ferrero, who was thrust onto the national stage as the first female vice presidential hopeful in the 1984 election. The name quietly retreated to the shadows again for about 20 years and just re-emerged on the charts in 2010. This time, Geraldine's revival is owed to a renewed interest in old lady names, Ruby, Hazel, Harriet. Such names are sweetly old-fashioned yet strong and feisty. Grandmotherly? A bit. But downright charming. Not to mention that Geraldine rules by the spear, so don't mess with this little warrior. Quick facts on Geraldine. Gender, girl. Origin, English. Number of syllables, 3. Ranking popularity, 992. Pronunciation, Geraldine. Simple meaning, rule by the spear. Characteristics of Geraldine. Social, dramatic, popular, happy, communicative, optimistic, creative. Cultural references to the baby name, Geraldine. Popular songs on Geraldine. The Ballad of Geraldine, a song by Ian Dury and the Blockheads, a song by Widespread Panic, a song on Joe Jackson, a song by Donovan, My Geraldine Lies Over the Delaware, Geraldine and John, Geraldine, The Wonder Years, Geraldine and the Honey Bee. Famous people named Geraldine. Gia with tilde copyright Ralden Martineau, French actress, Geraldine, Jerry Halliwell, aka Ginger Spice, pop star, Geraldine Page, actress, Geraldine Fitzgerald, actress, Geraldine Somerville, Irish actress, Geraldine Farrar, opera singer, Geraldine Chaplin, actress, Geraldine Ferrero, politician, Geraldine McCaffreyan, British author, Geraldine McEwen, actress. Historic figures with the name Geraldine. Geraldine Ferraro is a woman who should be much more heralded than she is as the first ever female vice presidential major party nominee for that office in the United States. She blazed a trail that is still being forged by women today, over 30 years later. Geraldine was born of Italian-American parents in New York and was largely raised by her hardworking widowed mother. This gave her a lasting empathy for the poor, which permeated her politics. In a time when women were encouraged to get teaching or nursing degrees in case something happened to their marriages Geraldine got not only a teaching degree, but a law degree, being one of 2 women in her law school class. When she married Ms. Ferraro retained her maiden name for the most part, as she served in various public legal offices, before going on to run for the House of Representatives. Brash and ambitious, Geraldine worked her way up in the MENA S Club and was thrilled to be on the Mondale ticket. The nomination was met with both enthusiasm and opposition, as Geraldine S policies, particularly on the pro-choice issue, were attacked and her personal financial matters were investigated mercilessly. At the end of it all, she and Mondale were trounced in the 1984 election by President Ronald Reagan. Geraldine Ferraro continued to be active in politics and humanitarian works, but she was absolutely right when she declared that her path would have been a lot smoother if her name had been Gerald.